Devil Fruits and Haki are the two main power systems in One Piece that also represent two major themes of the story as well. Not only do the functions of each ability complement each other, but also thematically complement each other as well, with Devil Fruits representing one's dreams and Haki representing one's strength of will. As Goldie Roger put it, these things will never cease to exist as long as people seek out freedom, and these concepts form the powers people use in this world. As we approach the end of this story, Haki has become the most prevalent power in attaining dominance on the sea, with Kaido going so far as to claim that Haki transcends all things. We'll be breaking down this idea, how Devil Fruits complement Haki, and how these ideas are presented in the story. Before we delve into it though, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy content like this, that'd be much appreciated. It was theorized by Dr. Vegapunk that Devil Fruits are a manifestation of people's dreams, a possibility of human evolution that someone desired. For example, if someone wished to be really fast or wished to be a powerful ruler, these dreams that people desired would manifest into a Devil Fruit, which can enhance human evolution. These fruits of hope are broadly categorized into three types: Zoan, Paramecia, and Logia. Zoan types allow the user to transform into a specific animal or creature and make use of its traits. Logia types allow the user to become and control natural elements. The Logia type is stated to be the strongest type of Devil Fruit, and they are broadly considered to be invincible powers because the user becomes intangible. Lastly, Paramecia types are all other abilities that can't be categorized in the aforementioned types. In general, Devil Fruits grant various powerful abilities that can be enhanced and developed depending on the user's skill and creativity. Most of the strongest people in the story possess powerful Devil Fruits, such as Fleet Admiral Akainu, whose Magma Fruit is stated to be on the highest tier of offensive power. Whitebeard, the world's strongest man, whose Tremor Fruit is stated to be the strongest Paramecia and on the same level as the Logia. Kaido, the world's strongest creature, whose Azuri Dragon Fruit is stated to be legendary and is of the rarest class of Devil Fruit. Even when it comes to bolstering the strength of a crew or army, acquiring Devil Fruits is consistently shown to be an effective method, such as Big Mom building her family's strength by acquiring powerful abilities, Kaido funding the Smile Project in order to manufacture Devil Fruits for his crew, and Blackbeard hunting powerful Devil Fruit users not only for himself, but also for his crew. Blackbeard's crew have even gained more notoriety due to hunting powerful abilities, which in turn has increased their bounties. Blackbeard also preaches that the benefit of Devil Fruits are greater than the risks, making it a powerful trade-off. Nothing possesses better than the pre-time skip half of the story, where the Straw Hats have faced unique abilities that have been difficult to overcome, most notably being Logia powers, as those users are intangible. Luffy had to either run away like in the case of Smoker, or find natural counters like in the case of Crocodile and Enel. Zoro had to advance his swordsmanship in order to overcome his wall of being unable to cut iron, and Sanji had to face off against Bon Clay, who could take advantage of his weakness of women to transform into Nami, who he'd dare attack. There have even been cases of Devil Fruit users overcoming skilled Haki users due to the power of their abilities, an example being Luffy overwhelming Sandersonia's observation Haki due to the speed of Gear Second, and overwhelming Marigold's advanced armament Haki due to the power of Gear Second. Chopper was able to easily overwhelm and defeat Komodori using Monster Point, despite CP9 being highly skilled assassins, all listed to have both types of Haki. Robin easily stopped and restrained Hakuba, an alter ego twice as strong as Cavendish, who was a super rookie before the worst generation. So with enough speed and power or unique abilities that match up favorably, Devil Fruit users can overcome the skill of some skilled Haki users. So why does Kaido, a user of a legendary Devil Fruit, claim that Haki is what transcends all? Haki is a power that dwells dormant in all people. The term was first used by Blackbeard on Jaya when he sent Luffy as being too strong to only have a 30 million berry bounty. Just like other spirit-based energy systems in other stories like Chakra, Nen, Ki, Ryatsu or Mana, the strength of one's overall Haki reflects how strong they are. When Blackbeard meets Luffy again in Impel Down and is hit by a jet pistol, he notes that Luffy's grown stronger and his Haki has grown stronger as well. So despite not being able to use the applications, Luffy's Haki grew as a result of getting stronger in general throughout his journey. By manipulating senses such as fighting spirit, killing intent, and determination, one can use their willpower as a weapon in battle. As the River Card Databook puts it simply, Haki is a weapon that turns the willpower dwelling in all people into strength. So whenever one feels another's spirit, killing intent, or determination, what they're feeling is one's willpower being weaponized. This weaponization of willpower comes in 3 types or colors. The first being observation Haki, which is willpower weaponized to elevate one's awareness. It's the most multifaceted of the 3, but in general it allows one to sense the presence and emotional movements of others in order to grasp their surrounding situation and avoid danger. There are even some very skilled users of observation Haki that can even see moments into the future. The voice of all things is another extension of this color that's unique to some that gives them the ability to understand or communicate with animals and inanimate objects. The second being armament Haki, which is willpower weaponized as an armor to strengthen the user's body or weapons. Highly skilled users of armament Haki can emit their aura by flowing their Haki from the parts of their body they aren't using to their active body parts or weapons they are using. The most skilled users can use a level above this to not only use this outward Haki, but also channel it into their targets to destroy them from within. However, the main advantage of armament Haki is that it can counter the abilities of devil fruits. Outside of natural counters such as rubber to lightning, armament Haki is the only effective counter to devil fruit abilities as long as it's strong enough. It's due to this trait of armament Haki that allows users to touch a low gear user's body as their intangibility granted by their fruit power is countered. Lastly, we have Conqueror's Haki, which is the user's spirit manifested. In other words, the user's willpower itself becomes a weapon to overwhelm their opponent. This type of Haki is usually found among those that have made a name for themselves and also have the ambition to stand above everything as a king. Unlike the other types of Haki, Conqueror's Haki can't be trained directly, but only grows stronger due to the user's personal growth. However, it can still be controlled so that one's spirit doesn't overwhelm or incapacitate unintended targets in the area. The advanced application of this is the ability to infuse one's innate spirit into themselves or a weapon to make themselves stronger. Luffy applied the same lessons to master advanced armament Haki to flow Conqueror's Haki into himself. This advancement of Conqueror's Haki is implied to only be achievable once the user passes a certain strength threshold, as only a handful of the very strongest are capable of this skill. Kaido claims that devil fruit abilities alone cannot conquer the world, and that's what makes the world well balanced or convenient. Devil fruit powers have great benefits, but Haki is a power that complements it to balance things. This is evident as armament Haki acts as the counter to devil fruits so that non-devil fruit users can compete. However, despite devil fruits and Haki being complementary powers, Roger becoming the Pirate King is used as proof that Haki is the most important of the 2 abilities in order to reach the peaks of the world. I think there are 2 things going on with Kaido's message. The first being the mechanical and how the power systems translate to the power hierarchy in the world, and the second being the narrative and thematic messaging. The narrative messaging to all this is that a dream alone means nothing without strong conviction to make it a reality no matter the hurdles. Devil fruits are dreams born from humanity's past hopes, but they're inherently external. Roger didn't need an externally powered dream to become king. He already had a dream for himself. He set out to sea with the ambition to turn the world upside down and lead a free and adventurous life. Roger realized that dream due to his own drive and conviction, which is represented by his Haki. Inherited will is the idea that a dream will always live on as long as there are those who inherit it, a legacy that's created and a promise that will someday be kept. For that promise to be kept, it takes one's strength of will, not the reliance of a miracle born from past dreams. Haki is the power that represents that effort to independently turn a dream into reality. Kaido's message conveys that it's not because Luffy is the user of the most whimsical devil fruit that he'll become Pirate King. It's not because Luffy has become the warrior of liberation that he'll bring a new dawn to the world. The Nika fruit chose Luffy because of who he is. Luffy's mind and body lived up to Nika's powers because of who he is. It's because Luffy has the indomitable spirit that will transcend against adversity to one day make the world he wants a reality. Luffy and Kaido's final clash represents this, as even though they're both devil fruit users, their Conqueror's Haki, which represents each of their drives to make their dreams a reality, is what's put to the test. Luffy's ideal world of freedom where everyone can eat as much food as they want, versus Kaido's ideal world of freedom where equality is achieved and realized on the battlefield. Ultimately, Luffy's Haki transcended Kaido's and he won the battle. Putting narrative messaging aside, it's not a coincidence that even though some of the very strongest in One Piece have powerful devil fruits, what they all have in common is Conqueror's Haki at the advanced level. This is consistent, as Doflamingo warned Virgo, Monet and Caesar to be wary of Luffy just as much as Law, despite not being as familiar with him simply because Luffy is a conqueror. It's due to Luffy being a conqueror that he could have had greater potential than Law. Among those that definitively rival Roger's level of strength, you won't find a devil fruit user that hasn't also reached the highest level of Haki. A powerful devil fruit will only take you so far. Kizaru might be able to rival the likes of Kaido, who has both a powerful fruit and Conqueror's Haki, but he doesn't have enough to break into Roger's level that stands at the top of the seas. Same goes for Law. Unless he progresses his devil fruit to an unprecedented degree, he probably won't reach Roger's level unless he awakens Conqueror's Haki. Shiki is the only one from that era that isn't a confirmed conqueror, but let's be real, he wouldn't be one of Roger's main rivals if he wasn't. The main point is, if we isolate the power of devil fruits and Haki, Haki has the higher ceiling. That ceiling is only achievable with the highest level of Haki, which is the strongest use of advanced Conqueror's Haki. In a story that rewards one's strength of will above all else, it's not surprising that the manifestation of that concept has the highest potential power. When Luffy eventually fights Blackbeard for the seat of the Pirate King, it'll probably give us a similar message. Blackbeard is a dual devil fruit user, with one that can negate fruit powers and another that can destroy the world. Despite these odds, Luffy's Haki will likely be the key factor that will allow him to transcend these hurdles so that he can take the seat of the Pirate King. That isn't to say Blackbeard won't be one of the strongest Haki users ever, but at the same time I don't find it a coincidence that the one that's been hunting devil fruit powers is also the one who first empowered the message of people's dreams. So what's the through line to all this? Devil fruits aren't obsolete, especially powerful ones. Depending on the ability and the user, they still have their own advantages, strengths and traits in battles. Haki balances the playing field so that non-devil fruit users can compete. They also thematically complement each other as well, as a dream alone isn't enough without a strong sense of will that accompanies it. However, mechanically, the element that both types of users share, that's the key separator, is their strength of will and how high it can go. The ones with the greatest ambitions and the highest strength of willpower are Conqueror's Haki users, which is why its potential is the most important factor to transcend everything. Hopefully that puts Haki vs devil fruits into better perspective, but at the end of the day, these are just my thoughts. Whether you personally like the heavily weighted importance of willpower in terms of who can be among the very strongest is totally subjective, so let me know all your opinions in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. I've been the one and only Zage, and until next time.